just broke. Browns owner Jimmy Haslam has officially lost it. Sources inside Cleveland say he just kicked Joe Flacco out of the facility to make room for Shedeur Sanders, and now he's threatening to fire Kevin Stefanski on the spot. The entire locker room is in chaos. Players are stunned, and what Haslam just told the media could change the Browns forever.
Hey man, let's roll it.
This decision, was it a collective or was it AB called pulling rank?
Well, AB and the owner, I think that's why Flacco was traded, to make this possible. Now, I won't say Kevin doesn't like Shedeur. I don't think Kevin believes Shedeur is ready, even for the number 2 role. Okay, it's not that he doesn't like him. He's a coach, and he sees everything through a quarterback lens, and he just doesn't believe he's ready. So for that,
Jimmy Haslam just made a power move that has Cleveland in absolute chaos. Joe Flacco? Gone. Kevin Stefanski? On the chopping block. And the one name sitting in the middle of this nuclear fallout is Shedeur Sanders. While the entire football world is wondering what the hell just happened in Cleveland, insiders are leaking some jaw-dropping truths about why the Browns are willing to burn everything down just to unleash Prime's son. This isn't just about football anymore. This is about a $200 per ticket stadium, a desperate franchise, and a backup quarterback who might be the most valuable asset in the NFL right now. What you're about to hear is going to change everything you thought you knew about Shedeur's situation in Cleveland.
for that reason, I don't think it was his decision, but he goes with the flow. This is the reason Flacco was traded, to make this possible. It was inevitable that Shedeur would be moved up to number.
So as you guys just heard in that clip there, that was Tony Grossi saying Shedeur was going to get moved up to number 2. But he feels as if Kevin Stefanski really wasn't on board. And that's what I've been telling y'all. Kevin Stefanski never wanted Shedeur. Kevin Stefanski has been the biggest Achilles heel for Shedeur Sanders playing this season. Because if it was left up to me, he should have started the season with one of them rookies. And I feel like Kevin Stefanski knows his time in Cleveland is running out. Kevin Stefanski is ultimately about to get fired, guys. It is over with for him. And whatever the case is, Shedeur Sanders' story is just beginning.
Look, I'm going to be straight with you. What just went down in Cleveland isn't some random roster move. This is a full-blown civil war happening behind closed doors, and Shedeur Sanders is sitting right in the eye of the storm. You think Joe Flacco getting traded out of nowhere was just a football decision? Nah, man. This was a power play that exposed every crack in the Browns organization.
Some things happen for a reason, and I'm a true believer in that. And whatever his plan for me is, I believe in it. So I don't get stressed or get or feel bad, that I'm in this situation I'm in right now. But it kind of, I would say, just make me. It's just funny to me. That's it. Everything is just funny to me, and I just enjoy it. I'll say mentally, and I'm not talking about on the field. I'm talking about more off the field. I'll say, I guess on the field. Where you I'll say overall, I feel like I understand a little bit more. How to handle different situations. And being the leader and understanding that. You can't really give any.
The Browns are out here struggling, right? Dylan Gabriel is your starter, and everyone knew Joe Flacco was the backup. Kevin Stefanski literally stood in front of reporters and said Joe Flacco would be QB2. He said it with his chest. No hesitation.
Affairs. So let's listen.
My insider's saying that there's strife in the building. Tony wrote about it too today. He must have got the same stuff. But apparently it's Kev v. Andrew and Jimmy, from what I understand. Kev wants to keep Flacco. Andrew and Jimmy want the processor. The Browns have too many decision makers in football ops. Reaction or overreaction?
It's a reaction.
All day. When are they going to learn? Too many, Chris. A lot of teams, the teams that do really well, the coach has his side and the front office has their side. On this team, it's everybody has everything going on. You understand?
Totally.
Like everybody's in, except for Kevin.
That was the plan. That was supposed to be the depth chart. But then what happens? Less than a week later, Joe Flacco gets shipped out. Gone. Just like that. Now here's where it gets interesting. Kevin Stefanski had no idea that trade was coming. Let that sink in for a second. Your head coach, the guy who's supposed to be running the team, didn't know his backup quarterback was about to get traded. How does that even happen? I'll tell you exactly how it happens, when the people above you don't trust your judgment anymore. See, this wasn't Kevin Stefanski's call. According to insiders close to the situation, this decision came straight from the top. Jimmy Haslam and Andrew Berry pulled rank and made this move happen. And why would they do that? Because they see something Kevin Stefanski either doesn't see or refuses to accept. They see Shedeur Sanders as more than just a backup quarterback. They see him as the future. They see him as a money-making machine. They see him as the guy who's going to fill that brand new stadium they just got approved. Let's talk about that stadium for a minute, because this is where everything starts making sense. The Browns just got the green light on a brand new facility, and they're already talking about charging $200 per ticket. $200 for the Cleveland Browns. Now, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but you gotta be realistic here. How are you gonna convince fans to drop $200 a game when your team has been mediocre at best? You need something special. You need a draw. You need star power. And who's the biggest name in football right now that isn't already an established superstar? Shedeur Sanders, the son of Deion Sanders, Coach Prime's kid, the guy who's been in the spotlight since he stepped on a college campus, the guy who has millions of eyes on him every single week, the guy who could sell out a stadium just by warming up on the sideline. Jimmy Haslam isn't stupid. He's a businessman first and a football owner second. He sees the dollar signs. He sees the merchandise sales. He sees the ticket revenue. He sees the national attention Shedeur brings wherever he goes. And he's thinking, why am I keeping this kid on the bench when I could be using him to pay for this stadium? That's the real reason Joe Flacco got traded. It wasn't about football. It was about business. It was about clearing the path for Shedeur to move up to QB2 so that when the moment comes, and trust me, that moment is coming, they can unleash him and watch the money roll in. But here's the problem. Kevin Stefanski doesn't see it that way. According to Tony Grossi, one of the most plugged-in Browns insiders in the game, Kevin Stefanski doesn't believe Shedeur is ready for the number 2 role. Not because he hates the kid, not because he's got some personal vendetta, but because as a coach, he's looking at it purely from a football perspective, and he doesn't think Shedeur has put in enough work yet to be Dylan Gabriel's primary backup. And honestly, I get where Kevin is coming from. He's a football coach. He's supposed to evaluate players based on what he sees in practice, in film sessions, in team meetings. He's not thinking about ticket sales and stadium revenue. That's not his job. His job is to win football games. And in his mind, Joe Flacco gave him a better chance to do that if Dylan Gabriel went down. But that's exactly why there's so much friction right now. Kevin Stefanski is thinking like a coach. Jimmy Haslam is thinking like an owner. And Andrew Berry is caught in the middle trying to balance both sides. But at the end of the day, the owner's voice is the loudest. The owner signs the checks. The owner makes the final call. And Jimmy Haslam made it very clear that Shedeur Sanders is moving up whether Kevin Stefanski likes it or not. Now let me ask you something. If you're Kevin Stefanski right now, how do you feel? You just got undermined in front of the entire organization. You told the media one thing, and then your bosses went behind your back and did the complete opposite. That's not just disrespectful. That's a message. That's the front office telling you, we don't trust your evaluation anymore. We're making the decisions now. And if you're Kevin Stefanski, you gotta know your days are numbered. Because once an owner starts making football decisions over your head, it's only a matter of time before they decide they don't need you anymore. The writing is on the wall. Kevin Stefanski is coaching for his job right now, and every decision he makes is being second-guessed by people who think they know better. But here's the twist that nobody's talking about. What if Jimmy Haslam and Andrew Berry are actually right? What if Shedeur Sanders really is ready? What if Kevin Stefanski is so locked into his old-school way of evaluating quarterbacks that he's missing what's right in front of him? Because let's be real, Shedeur didn't just randomly end up in Cleveland. He was the number 1 pick in the draft. He was the most hyped quarterback prospect in years. He's been groomed by one of the greatest athletes of all time. He's been under pressure his entire life and hasn't cracked yet. So why wouldn't you at least give him a chance to prove himself? And that's exactly what Jimmy Haslam is doing. He's betting on Shedeur. He's betting that the kid has that it factor that you can't teach. He's betting that when the lights come on and the pressure is at its highest, Shedeur is gonna rise to the occasion. And if he's right, if Shedeur comes in and balls out, then Kevin Stefanski is gonna look like the guy who tried to hold back a superstar. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but what if Shedeur isn't ready? What if Kevin Stefanski is right and this blows up in their faces? And yeah, that's a legitimate concern. But here's the thing. Jimmy Haslam has already made his decision. He's all in on Shedeur. He traded Joe Flacco to make it happen. He overruled his head coach to make it happen. There's no turning back now. This is the Shedeur Sanders experiment, and it's about to get even crazier before the end of the season. Because right now, Dylan Gabriel is the starter, and as long as he's healthy, Shedeur is sitting on the bench. But we all know how this league works. One bad hit, one injury, one stretch of bad games, and suddenly, the backup becomes the story. And when that moment comes, and trust me, it's coming, all eyes are going to be on Shedeur Sanders. The media is going to go crazy. The fans are going to lose their minds. And Kevin Stefanski is going to be stuck in the most uncomfortable position of his coaching career. Forced to play a guy he doesn't think is ready because his bosses told him to. So we just broke down how Jimmy Haslam basically threw a grenade into the Browns organization by trading Joe Flacco and forcing Shedeur Sanders into the QB2 spot. But now, let's talk about the most interesting part of this whole situation, how Shedeur is handling it. Because while everyone around him is panicking, while coaches are fighting with front offices, while media members are speculating about what's going to happen next, Shedeur is sitting back like none of this even phases him. And that's either the most impressive display of mental toughness we've seen from a rookie in years, or he's completely oblivious to how much pressure is actually on him right now. Listen to what Shedeur said when asked about his situation in Cleveland. He straight up said, "Some things happen for a reason, and I'm a true believer in that. Whatever his plan for me is, I believe in it. I don't get stressed or feel bad about the situation I'm in right now." Then he followed it up by saying, "It's just funny to me. Everything is just funny to me, and I just enjoy it." Now, when I first heard that, I didn't know whether to be impressed or concerned, because on one hand, that's the kind of confidence you want from your quarterback. You want a guy who doesn't crack under pressure. You want a guy who believes in himself, even when everyone else is doubting him. You want a guy who can block out the noise and stay focused on what he can control. But on the other hand, this is the NFL. This is the highest level of football in the world. And right now, you've got a head coach who doesn't believe you're ready, a front office that's using you as a business investment, and an entire fan base that's divided on whether you deserve to be on the roster. That's not a situation you laugh off. That's a situation you take seriously and attack with everything you've got. But here's why I actually think Shedeur's response is genius. He's not giving them anything. He's not feeding into the drama. He's not getting emotional or defensive. He's staying above the chaos and letting his work speak for itself. And that's exactly what you have to do when you're in a situation like this. Because, think about it. If Shedeur came out and said he was frustrated or upset about being the backup, the media would run with that. They'd say he's entitled. They'd say he can't handle adversity. They'd say he's not a team player. But by staying calm and keeping a positive attitude, He's making it impossible for anyone to attack his character. He's showing maturity beyond his years. And trust me, Jimmy Haslam and Andrew Berry are watching. They're paying attention to how he handles himself in the media. They're looking at how he carries himself around the facility. They're evaluating whether he's got the mental makeup to be a franchise quarterback. And so far, Shedeur is passing every test they're throwing at him. Now let's circle back to Kevin Stefanski for a minute, because his situation is getting worse by the day. Not only did he get overruled on the Joe Flacco trade, but now he's stuck coaching a team where he doesn't have full control over the roster. And that's a death sentence for a head coach. Kevin Stefanski's time in Cleveland is running out. It's not a matter of if he gets fired anymore. It's a matter of when. Because once an owner starts making personnel decisions without consulting the head coach, that's the beginning of the end. It means the owner has lost faith in the coach's ability to evaluate talent and make the right calls. And here's the crazy part. Kevin Stefanski might actually be a good coach. He might be right about Shedeur not being ready yet. But it doesn't matter. Because in the NFL, perception is reality. And right now, the perception is that Kevin Stefanski is standing in the way of the franchise's future. He's the old guard trying to hold back the new wave. He's the conservative coach who's too scared to take a risk on a dynamic young talent. Whether that's fair or not doesn't matter. That's the narrative. And once that narrative takes hold, it's almost impossible to shake it. So Kevin Stefanski is fighting a losing battle. He can coach his tail off, he can win games, he can do everything right. But if Jimmy Haslam wants him gone, he's gone. And honestly, I think that's going to happen before the season ends. I think we're going to see Kevin Stefanski get fired mid-season. And I think the Browns are going to promote someone internally who's willing to play Shedeur. Because that's what this is really about. It's not about winning games right now. It's about setting up the future. It's about maximizing their investment. It's about building around Shedeur Sanders. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking this is crazy. You're probably thinking, why would the Browns blow everything up for a backup quarterback who hasn't even played yet? And I get it. It sounds insane. But this is the NFL. This is a league where desperation drives decisions. And the Browns are desperate. They're desperate to be relevant. They're desperate to sell tickets. They're desperate to justify building a 200-per-ticket stadium. And Shedeur Sanders gives them all of that. He gives them headlines. He gives them buzz. He gives them hope. And right now, hope is worth more than wins. So here's what I think happens. Dillon Gabriel keeps starting as long as he's healthy. Shedeur stays at QB2 and keeps preparing like he's gonna play. Kevin Stefanski tries to hold on to his job by winning games. But eventually, something's gonna give. Either Dillon Gabriel gets hurt, or the team goes on a losing streak, or Jimmy Haslam just runs out of patience. And when that happens, Shedeur is gonna get his shot. And when he does, man, it's gonna be must-watch TV. Because either he's gonna prove all the doubters wrong and become the franchise quarterback Cleveland has been searching for, or he's gonna struggle and prove Kevin Stefanski was right all along. There's no middle ground here. It's all or nothing. But here's why I'm betting on Shedeur. Despite all the controversy, despite all the drama, despite all the people saying he's not ready, he's still here. He's still standing. He's still confident. He's still preparing like a starter, even though he's listed as the backup. And that tells me everything I need to know about his mindset. Shedeur Sanders isn't worried about Kevin Stefanski's opinion. He's not worried about the media's doubts. He's not worried about the haters saying he only got drafted because of his last name. He's focused on one thing and one thing only: being ready when his number gets called. And that's exactly the mentality you need to survive in this league. So yeah, Jimmy Haslam kicked out Joe Flacco to unleash Shedeur Sanders. And yeah, Kevin Stefanski is probably getting fired before this is all over. But the real story here isn't about front office drama or coaching feuds. The real story is about a young quarterback who's about to get the opportunity of a lifetime, and whether he's going to seize it or let it slip away. So here's my question for you. Do you think Shedeur is ready to be QB2 in Cleveland? Or is Kevin Stefanski right that he needs more time? And, more importantly, how long before we see Shedeur actually get on the field? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I want to hear what you think. And if you made it this far, you're part of the real ones. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because we're going to be covering every twist and turn of this Shedeur Sanders saga as it unfolds. This is just the beginning, and trust me, it's about to get wild. It's about to get wild.